So please give a listening ear to this awesome gentleman that I had the pleasure of meeting before, Mr. Marc Williams.
Yeah, you can tell everybody. Go ahead and tell everybody. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man.
Wow. Good morning, entrepreneurs and moguls. It's almost afternoon. Let's try that again. Good afternoon, entrepreneurs and moguls. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Marc Williams, and I'd like to ask you the following. If I told you that I had $4.6 million in this bag, would you believe me? She said no, and she would be right. The bag does not have any money in it. The bag is empty, but the dream is real. I have a dream in that bag of a multi-million-dollar public speaking and training business. But what's your business dream? Is your business dream worth millions of dollars? Is your business dream worth $4.6 million? And how do you increase the value of your business? Let me tell you why I picked $4.6 million. Because research shows that the top 10 highest paid speakers in recent history collectively have earned $4.6 million just for standing in front of a room and delivering a presentation. Now, I don't think that most people in the room are here because they want to go into the professional speaking business, except for maybe Dr. Reed back there. But whatever business you are here to build, not create, but to build, you're going to need to be able to talk up your business to bring your business to its fullest potential. Why? Because if you need funding for your business, you're going to be able to talk up your business to an audience of investors. If you want to put your business in the public eye and make it more visible, then you have to become more visible and talk up your business in front of a public audience. And if you want to build your clientele and your partnerships, because I liked that word earlier, you have to be able to talk up your business to those partners and an audience of customers. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, once said, if you want to increase your income over the course of your lifetime by 50%, you need to develop your public speaking skills. Steve Jobs was credited for the success of Apple. Most people say he was able to do what he was able to do because of a lot of skills, but most people will say most importantly because of his skill to speak in public. That's the skill that we need to craft and master. When I talk about the list of top 10 highest paid speakers, some of them are politicians, like our president. Quite a few of them, even like our president, are entrepreneurs and moguls, like Sir Richard Branson, Virgin Atlantic. But there's one entrepreneur who is not on the list, who will probably never build his business to its fullest potential. And his name is Michael Bay, the director of the famous Transformer movies, a mogul in the film industry. And why? Because in January 2014, he was invited to speak at an event hosted by Samsung. They were introducing their brand new Curve TV. There he was, standing on stage, all eyes on him. His eyes were on the teleprompter. All he had to do was read off the teleprompter. But the teleprompter froze. And then he froze. He freaked out. He stormed off stage in what is now one of the most public displays of stage fright in recent history. And why did that breakdown happen? Not because the teleprompter failed to operate, but because of the way he prepared for that moment. Now, I don't know him personally, so I can't tell you exactly how he prepared for that moment. But my question to him would be the same question to you. When you have that opportunity to talk up your business, how do you prepare for that moment so that you can grab their attention, keep them engaged, and leave them wanting more of your business. Now, some people might say join an organization like Toastmasters International, which is where Darlene and I met. Or organizations like the National Speakers Association. Those would be great answers because they give you the opportunity to practice your presentation, get some feedback, and brush up on your presentation skills. And that's important. That's a good answer, but that's only half of the answer. Don't get me wrong, I'm a proud card-carrying member of Toastmasters International. I believe in the program, in the system, and what I like to call the public speaking gym, but it's only half of the answer. Today I want to share with you the other half, arguably the most essential half. And to illustrate what I'm talking about, I like to take a little survey. When you think of some of the greatest speakers, communicators, presenters, moguls who are great at talking up their business, who comes to mind? Shout out some names. Who's some great speakers? Can't ever forget him, right? Oprah. Michelle. Anybody else? Anybody else? TD. Okay. Alishia, Marc Williams. I like that answer. So, when we think about some of these people and many more, what is it about the way that they communicate that makes them great at what they do? Shout out those answers. What is it that about the way they communicate that makes them great at what they do?
Command the stage. Storytelling. Testimony. Deliverance. Confidence. Connecting with the audience.
Y'all are talking faster than I can write.
Principle, integrity, and ethics. Eye contact.
Ooh.
Relating to the group that they're talking to.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. Those are some great answers. And I will tell you, I ask this question a lot. And when I ask this question, a lot of times I always get the same response back. When you take a look at that list and you think about what people just said, most of the things on the list refer to the development of an idea, like storytelling. But most of the things on the list refer to the delivery of that idea. When we think about some of the greatest speakers and moguls, entrepreneurs who are great at communicating, to some degree we think about what they say, but to a greater degree we think about the way they say it. And when we want to become better communicators, to a degree we're talking about what we want to say, but to a greater degree we're talking about the way we want to deliver that message. So if you could communicate like the speakers and entrepreneurs you admire, how would you do it? My answer is something called the rules of engagement. 10 rules to rule the stage for dynamic presentations and engaging communications. And when I talk about ruling the stage, I'm not just talking about standing up here as beautifully as so many people this morning have graced this stage. Applaud everybody who's been up here so far. But I'm not just talking about standing up here and delivering a business presentation. I'm also talking about acing those networking opportunities. Standing out when you speak up in small group sessions and business meetings. Making the most of every business opportunity and investment opportunity so that every time you open up your mouth, you draw in more business. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Marc Williams, and I'm sort of like your doctor. You know how your doctor tells you to open up your mouth and say, ah? I teach people how to open up their mouths and make everybody else in the room say, ah. I'm not going to drop the mic. I'm just going to lower it for a second and just say this. That already was a lesson, that doctor line, because everything that you do as an entrepreneur, as a faithpreneur, as anything you want to do, there's somebody else out there who's trying to do the same thing. You want to be able to communicate what you do that somebody else may do in a way that nobody else can communicate it. Think about your comparisons. Think about your metaphors. Think about what you bring differently to the table and communicate that. I learned that a long time ago. And that's why I'm sort of like your doctor. How do I do this? I got to tell you, there's been a lot of educators in this room. I don't know how you put all that together. But I'll say I'm a principal. I'm a principal at a high school, secondary school for journalism. I used to be an assistant principal at Brooklyn Tech, my old alma mater. I'm proud to be in a school where students are struggling so we can get them all together and work harder. And one of the lessons that I'm trying to teach our young children is the power of articulating themselves. That's huge. That's huge. Now, why do I focus so much on articulation and especially delivery? Because of the survey you just answered, and also because of a gentleman by the name of W.B. Harford. W.B. Harford was a professor at Ohio State University, and in 1924 he wrote an article for the school newspaper about the value of public speaking. And he said, knowing one's subject is only half the game. The way you get your message across to your audience, your method of delivery, is a much more difficult matter. Then he said this. He said, ambitious leaders, or in this case, entrepreneurs, who hope to attain success in the world, need to understand that what you say and how you say it will count more for your success than your own business knowledge. And then he shared this statement that I absolutely love. He said, your voice is like the neck of your mental bottle. He said, your voice is like the neck of your mental bottle. See, it doesn't matter what's inside. Because nothing will happen unless I open this bottle cap. In other words, it doesn't matter how much the ideas inside your head can shake things up. If you don't open up your mouth, nothing happens. He says, so it doesn't matter how learned you are, how wise you are, how well you can frame your ideas into a captivating written composition. You need to open up your mouth in a way that leaves a mark. So if you're here to leave a mark on the business world, to communicate like the speakers and entrepreneurs you admire, and if you want to draw in more business with the way you talk up your business, today I just want to share you in the time that I have left 2 rules of engagement, and then I want to share with you how you can learn and master some of the other rules of engagement. Just going to give you 2 today. Eye contact. We talked about that one early, and a lot of people like to talk about this, but it's so essentially important. I always like to say that public speaking should be less like a presentation and more like a one-on-one conversation with every person listening to you. We all know this to be true, but it's not something we often see when it comes to eye contact. And in business, it's so important because if I don't make eye contact with my team members, my partners, my customers, my investors, I communicate a lack of confidence, and that's not what you want to communicate. Also, rule number 1 about business, it's all about connections and relationships. This is where your connections and your relationships begin. So when you're in front of a room of listeners, I always talk about the 5-second glance. Look at somebody in your room, locking your eyes for about 5 seconds, and shift your focus to someone else and locking your eyes for about 5 seconds, and then shift your focus to somebody else and locking your eyes for about 5 seconds, and do that until you've looked at everyone in the room. Raise your hand if I've made eye contact with you. That's your goal. Why 5 seconds? Because 5 seconds is long enough to make somebody feel like you're making a connection with them without making them feel like you're creeping them out. You don't want anybody to feel like you're creeping them out, right? You want them to feel like you're making a connection. That's why I always say we need to take that term eye contact and rename it I connect. It's all of it. I better trademark that one, right? I better trademark that one. All right, you can borrow it. You can borrow it. It's all about spreading the message, but I will trademark it. But, hashtag it first. I like the way you think. It's all about branding and how you present yourself. 5 seconds. But I don't expect you to really talk, look at somebody, and count the 5 in your head. So remember this term, focus and phrase. 5 seconds is about the length of a sentence or a phrase. So every time you start a new sentence or a new phrase, focus on a new person. Focus and phrase. Focus and phrase. Focus and phrase. When you make eye contact with everybody who's listening to you, you connect with everyone who's listening to you, you increase your chances of drawing in the business of people you speak to. The second rule I'll share with you today: never memorize your presentation, just practice every chance you get. And a lot of people think, well, I'm not a public speaker. Everybody's a public speaker. When you sit at the table for dinner, you're speaking in public. When you sit down for an interview, you're speaking in public. When you're networking, getting a book signed, getting your book signed, whatever it is, every time you open up your mouth and somebody else is listening, you're speaking in public. But especially when you're presenting your business, it's so important. So I said I'm a principal. I'm very proud of the fact that I've got 11 kids in my school who just designed an app to address teenage hunger issues. Impressive. They are now the top 10, one of the top 10 schools in the country who are competing in a competition hosted by Samsung. Solve for Tomorrow competition. They're about to go to Washington, D.C. to present this idea. They've got 2 to 3 minutes to present it. So the other day I walked into their classroom. I said, "You ready to do it?" "Yeah, Mr. Williams." "Well, let me see it." For 2 minutes, they fumbled and bumbled all over the place. In the last minute, they stopped talking, went on the computer to try to figure out what they wanted to say. It was gone. What happened to them is what happens to most. We spend so much time working on our business that we think that when it comes time to talk about the business, the words will just flow. But a lot of times that does not happen. And then people spit out verbal vomit all over people. And they drive people away from their business. That's right, I can trademark that one too, right? Verbal vomit. Okay, hashtag verbal vomit. Don't verbally vomit on anybody you talk to about your business. Do this instead. It's a rule I call 1 for 1. You want to engage? 1 hour of practice for every minute of that presentation. That's right, I said it, right? You got that 1-minute elevator pitch? 1 hour. You got that 3-minute sales pitch? 3 hours. You got that 10-minute presentation in front of investors? 10 hours. That sounds like a lot, but let me give you translation. That's really practice your presentation 60 times. You need to be that committed. You need to be as committed to the presentation of your business as you are committed to the success of your business. If you prepare for the presentation of your business, your audience will be prepared to give you their business. 2 rules. Eye contact will start your business. Preparing to present your business will keep you in business. Whatever you do, whether it be a Toastmasters group, an NSA group, whether you read a book. I got 2 books in the back that I'm reading right now about public speaking because I'm always learning. I'm writing a book about public speaking. It's called Rules of Engagement. It'll be out soon. Hashtag that. I'll do a quick one and say hashtag this. It's called Beyond Limitations. And it's about that 3-year-old boy who watched the man who he thought was his father get murdered in front of his own eyes. He grew up to be a poor kid living in East New York, Brooklyn, the son of a single, poor, illiterate mother. He should have been dead or a dropout or in jail, but he's talking to you right now. How do I make the connection? Going through all of that, I kept very quiet. I bottled up a lot inside until I learned how powerful it is to not only share, because it releases and it's healthy, but it can also elevate you when you know how to open up your mouth in a way that leaves a mark. I'm doing an event on April 29th at the Brooklyn Historical Society. It's for a limited audience. I'm doing all the rules there. I'm going to teach you how to deliver, how to open up your mouth and make everybody else in the room say, ah. And why do I do it? because you cannot afford for your talk to be cheap. Your talk is your ticket. And if you want to cash in that ticket, you need to be able to deliver in a way that is powerful. So master the rules. If you are here because you want to leave a mark on the business world, master the rules. If you are here because you want to be able to communicate like the speakers and entrepreneurs that you admire, master the rules. And if you are here because you want to be able to talk up your business in a way to draw in more business, master the rules. Because if you can master the rules, you will become the entrepreneur with the business that everyone else will admire. And that's what I call dropping $4.6 million on the floor. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Marc Williams.